Hello and welcome to my Let's Play Banished. I'm very new to this game myself. I've been playing it for about a week now, and I wanted to do a little Let's Play for those who are interested in the game and also for those who are pretty new themselves and maybe want some tips or just want to know how other people are playing. I will cover some of the game basics, and before we go into any detail, we will start with map generation. For the map generation, there's three aspects that will decide how your map will look like. The most important one is the map seed. The map seed is a random number, and from that number the game generates forests, mountains, valleys, lakes, rivers, and everything. What's also pretty important, of course, is the terrain type. That can be valleys or mountains. I use valleys because it is much easier. The terrain size can be small, medium or large. I use large because I want to have my space. I'm not used to building in environments where I do not have enough space, and it just makes it harder. The climate doesn't have an influence in the map generation, but it will make it harder or easier when it comes to crops, because crops will fall off once the temperature goes below a certain value. That may differ from crop to crop type, and you will then lose crops that are still on the field and haven't been dragged in. Let's just keep that at fair. That should be a very doable value. I keep disasters at off. I have not played with them. I know there's fire, I don't know the other ones, I also don't really want to know. The starting conditions will be at medium. If you put them at hard, you will have less resources and less workers in the beginning. If you put them at easy, you will already have your first houses built when you start the game. I don't think that it's necessary to already have houses in the storage barn, because on the map we will be playing, we will relocate a bit away from the starting point anyway. Once loading is finished, I will show you around the map and show you my plan, how I want to divide it, where to build houses, where to build foresters and resource production and stuff. I don't use fishing. For those who want to see me doing fishing, I want to see how effective fishers are, you won't. They seem to be very effective when they have lots of water around, but I have not used them yet, and I don't want to try it at this point in the game. Now this is the map, but before we get started we have to set up the UI a bit. I'm always using this layout. I'm used to this and I like it very much. At the top left you have the most important information about your city, of the time. You have the amount of adults, students and children, you have the temperature, you have basic resources, the most important resources, how many of them you have. Although just having them is not enough, but I will talk about this later. You see how healthy your people are. People will get unhealthy when they eat only one type of food, like when you just build fishers. They only will eat fish all their lives, and there will be diseases. So just don't do that, and you should be fine. Here's the happiness. People will stay happy if they have enough food, if they have a house to live in, and if they have enough firewood to heat it. When you don't have those, they will become unhappy. You can compensate for that by producing alcohol, obviously, like in real life. You can also build church, that will also make them a bit happier, and you can build a graveyard, so people won't mourn that long when their parents die. But we won't need all that in the beginning. During the first in-game year, we will focus on food, on wood and firewood. That is the most important resource you need. As you can see, here we started on a little island. I don't want to stay on this island at all. I want to move away from it as soon as I can, so we will directly build a bridge to over here. Before I show you the top left, I show you this area. This area is also viable to play on, but it's not as good as this one over here. Because this one over here has lots and lots of flat space. And especially here, it's really amazing. You can build so much stuff there. So we will directly instruct our people to build a bridge. There is only a wooden bridge available for resources only the developer knows. So we will place it here. Then we can go down here to the professions, and in the professions, once you place a building, you will see how many maximum builders you can assign. So we will assign 2 and at least start a game, so something happens while I talk. The laborers are good for transporting resources to place where buildings are being built. They are also good to take down resources, so to gather resources. So we will use them to at least gather some trees here. And okay, little amount of stone that is here. So they are busy while this bridge is being built. When a building is being built, you will see the amount of trees that resources that have to be removed before it can be built, the amount of resources that are transported there by the laborers, and the amount of, let's say, hammers or whatever is being produced to determine whether the building is complete or not. Okay, they are building this bridge. When a very important tip, I will pause the game so I can talk about this. When you do something like this, or just say remove all the resources and do something like this, you see that there's actually this part of the map, this part of the map, and this part of the map where the resources are, and they are divided by rivers. You do not have any kind of connection of these 3 areas, so if you order your people to take down resources in all those areas, they will try to do that. They are not clever enough to say, oh, I cannot get there, I won't do anything there, but they will try and just walk around to find a way to get there. This is pretty annoying, and it will screw you up very much. Okay, so let's look at the bridge, which is still being built. Once building is finished, we can start placing. Where is it? Can no, not the hunter. So, here it is. We can place our first building, which will be the Forester's Lodge. Forester's a building for food for wood production. You may ask yourself, oh, why does he want to produce wood in the beginning? So much lying around. That is true. That is very true. But there is a combination of this building, the Forester's Lodge, along with the Gatherer and the Hunter, because all of these buildings will work in forests. Place it here. All those buildings work in forests, and if the forest is old and there's lots and lots of trees, they will work better. So we will need this building later on. Also, the Foresters Lodge will remove anything like stones or iron that are in this area, and so all of the other buildings will be more productive because there can be more trees. Okay, now we place it here. Big tip, remember where your buildings are, because obviously cannot really see that there should be a building here. This is pretty stupid, I think, but you have to get used to it. Now we will build a dirt road here in front of the building, bigger for other buildings to fit. And then we will produce the other buildings that will be used there later on. Okay, so we got food production, the hunter's cabin. Now you can see when you want to place a new building, you see where other stuff is already being placed, although it is not being built yet. You see these arrows at the side of the building, that is where the building connects to a road. And you do not need to... Okay, the other way, these arrows should also be at the road. You do not need to leave some space here. Directly place it on the road, otherwise you will lose space. Okay, let's place this one here. Then we will try to place another road. Okay, the road can be placed here. We go all the way up here out of this circle. What do we need? We got the hunter. We need to gather. Gather here. Place. Oh. Was this correct? Maybe I missed. This. Okay, let's remove it. Can you remove structure? Like, activate the removal tool. You do not need to cover the whole structure to remove it. Just part of it, and it will be removed. Now, before I place the other buildings, just start the game so something happens. Now you see we can assign 5 builders, so we do that. The laborers will be in charge of moving all the resources up there for the builders. I will speed the process up a bit, so there's a bit more to see. Also I will then see where my buildings are, so I don't place it again wrong. Okay, start building road. I don't know why, but they like building roads, so they do that first. Now the thing is, these buildings, at least one of these buildings, just the forester will produce blocks. He needs to dump them somewhere. If he has no place near to dump it, he will go all the way down here to place them there. That will take him a lot of time. This is bad, so we build a stockpile here. Let's make it like this. Stockpiles are free to build, but of course there is trees and other stuff in the way, so it has to be taken down first. Okay, now the street is complete. We got the hunter and the forester placed. Now let's place the gatherer again, and maybe this time in the correct place. Okay, that is done. Now we see down here in the event log that we have new adults, so one of the children here When an adult is now working, he will directly show up as a laborer down here. Let's assign some more builders. Speed things up a bit. Now I always place these buildings first. I don't place the houses first because we don't need them yet. They complain that they don't have houses, but they won't freeze to death. Because they are working anyway, so that should keep them warm, I hope. And they can build other stuff. Now, I've built a stockpile here because the forester has to place his logs. The other two buildings, the gatherer and the hunter, they will produce food. They will produce the food and place it here. Now, as this is the opposite way of the city that we will build, this is not so good. We need some storage that is nearer to the city. The future city, of course. Before we decide where we build the new storage barn, we have to place the market. Now the market is very important. It's a very good building, but very expensive, as you can see on the resources that it costs. When buildings are in range of the market, they will not go to a stockpile to get the resources. They will not go to a storage barn if it's food or something like that. They always will go to the market because they can get everything there. You can get everything there because there's a job called vendors, and vendors will go all around your town and collect stuff from storage barns and can't remember the name, sorry, from stockpiles, of course. So we place a market to see what its range will be. Let's place it here. I'll directly pause it because I do not need it yet. This is very important. Do not need it yet, you need it later, but if you place it now, you remember where to put it, and also you know where to put your other buildings in the beginning. I will show you that quite soon. Now, we see the zero circle around the market. And we also see that our road here is quite near to it. I want to place my buildings. Okay. I want to place my buildings in the range of the market. So, where is the road going? The road is going to here. Then here that should be within the range. Okay. Now let's just continue game so they can do something for us. They're still in progress of moving all the materials. Okay, that is very good. What's the speed? Okay, let's put down the speed to 2 so it's not that fast. Now we see that also these buildings have a range. I will cut into that now, sadly. And then I would have needed to place them somewhere else, and it wasn't possible. But that's not so bad. Okay, now the buildings are built. We see the little question mark on top of them. That means they have nobody working in them. So we assign 2 hunters and 3 foresters. Also check that we have some laborers left. Now these people will start working in these buildings and dump all their resources at whatever place that is the nearest to them. That is very important to remember. Now that the road is built, we can place the storage barn. We will place it here. It has a connection to the road on the right. So these buildings here can use a storage barn to place the food actually before anybody really starts building. We can demolish it, and maybe we put it somewhere else instead. Now again, we do only need a storage barn as long as we do not have a market. Let's place a storage barn here. We also need a stockpile. Let's place a stockpile here. Yeah, so there will be lots of space. Lots of space to put resources. Now when people will cut down trees, they will take all the resources down here to the stockpile. You need the resources over here at this one. Sorry, this one. So there's some tool that is priority tool to increase the priority of a building. You will increase the one of the stockpile, so it gets built first. As you can see, they are already working on the stockpile. So every resource they take down to build buildings, they will place in the stockpile here and do not have walk all the way down here, and then again use this resource down there to build a new building up here. We do not build houses at this point in the game. We need to make sure that we have enough food and that we have enough logs and firewood for the winter, and these buildings need to produce as long as possible. So we start with other stuff. Oh, come on! Get the stockpile done. Okay. Seems they're hungry, so they will sadly have to all the way down here to get food and then walk back up. Continue building. This sucks, of course. It will change once we have the storage barn here and the stockpile here. Then these buildings will place their food up there. So, go. Now they should complete it instantly. Okay, the stockpile is there. There's already resources placed here, that's very nice. As we can see down here, we have another adult. That is good because it means we have a new laborer. Now they should go ahead and build a storage barn where the other buildings can place their food. Now let's see, what do we have? We have everything we need. The gatherer needs some people to work in. Now the gatherer is a very cool building because it produces 4 types of food. As you can see, there's a food limit. That is the food limit that they will produce all over the city. So if you have like 5,000 food in your city, they will stop producing for whatever reason. That limits are set this way. The log limit is 200, and we can see up here that the stored firewood is already 200. So he will start complaining very soon. That is really stupid in the beginning, so we will set this at least up to 500. So he will not stop producing anything. Okay, I just checked my list of buildings that we need before the first winter. That is all the buildings you need. You usually do not need a new storage barn if you do not relocate in the beginning. But I want to build up here. I could have built houses down here just for the first year and then demolish them, but it's really wasting resources, and we do not play on hard, so game is a bit more forgiving. Now we are in late summer. Accidentally closed this menu here. We are in late summer and we do need houses for the winter. Now for houses there's two tactics. The one most people go with is building wooden houses. In the beginning they do not need as much resources, they do not need iron at all. They do not need as much wood and obviously not as much stone. But they use up much more firewood during the winter. So it's already very cool if you can actually use those, but usually you cannot, because you do not have the resources. Now let's order them to gather more stone, because we do need stone anyway. Ah crap, of course, we forgot the woodcutter. We are not supposed to forget the woodcutter. Woodcutter is very, very important because it produces the firewood. I think it's... where is it? Like here? I can't remember. Sorry. Just a bit... there is, of course. That is the woodcutter. Let's check. I cannot really see the line. I think it should be okay if you just build it somewhere up here. So let's place this building something in the way here. Let's build it here. It will use up no stone, almost no stone. So let's start. Let's start with 2 stone houses at this point. You are not supposed to place build orders if you do not have the resources, because people will move or try to move the resources there as soon as possible, so they might walk twice or even more often just with carrying half the stuff, and it's quite ineffective. So come on, we need a woodcutter. We of course need to assign someone to the woodcutter, and then oh cool, this house already has, oh no, the iron is missing. No, the woodcutter says fuel limit 200. I'm not really sure why it says fuel. It's really stupid, because it obviously is firewood. Just ignore that. Increase the value to at least 500 and we press enter, close it. This icon that means the building is at the maximum that is configured will go away. Should go away quite soon. Now it's gone. We are in late autumn, so we need our houses. Check if we can build them all here. Yeah, so let's just place 2 more. Notice a warning that will say just not enough stone. I know, it's not really a surprise. Okay, that's good. Everything is in range of the market. Maybe the woodcutter should not be in range of the market, so it goes to the stockpile, but then the market will gather all the wood anyway, so it doesn't matter. We need more stone, so let's pause it. Remove stone. Where do we have some stone? Some stone here, here. And then we just need more labors. The labors will remove all the resources for you. Now, I guess it's not the best tutorial for telling you how to put down the houses, because we are already in early winter and they are not built. It's not so good. But last time I tried this, it worked out and nobody was freezing. Now this icon tells you that people are freezing, but for some reason, maybe it's because they're playing on medium, they do not freeze for a long time. So it doesn't seem to be a problem. Okay, come on guys, come on. Need some more stone. 10 stone or to have enough resources for the house. Let's increase the speed a bit. Already in winter. But we should get through the winter anyway. Okay, I pause now because we have enough stone for those 2 houses. I will cancel the removal because... Oh, okay, it's only 2 stones left. Because if they have something to do, and removal is something, the laborers do not transport the resources around. It's kind of annoying. But for those 2 houses, that's enough. Okay, let's see. Sometimes more people than 2 move into a building. Maybe that is because they don't have enough houses. That's okay. They do for now. What's going on around here? As you can see, the gather is producing more than 1 food, and having a big variety of food is always good. Because if people only get 1 type of food, they will get sick. Okay, the food is brought here usually, and as you can see, we are already in early spring, so we are through the first winter. That is the biggest task in early game, to get through the first winter. We obviously had enough resources because you're not playing on hard. We have some resources left, we have some tools, some clothes. I will talk about it later on. We still have 3 people who do not have a house. We have 4 houses. We need a 5th house. So let us... Oh, actually, as it always, through the winter we will not build a new house. Because I would have built a wooden house, we will try to make it a stone house. So let's order them to... Oh, not to connect iron, sorry. Cancel this one. Stone. Remove the stone. Actually, remove the stone here. That's very helpful for the forester, the gatherer, because they do not have to take resources out themselves. Yeah, we are through the first winter. As I said, that is the hardest task in the beginning. Let's pause here and see you in a second let's play. So we will go to save, select save it, and we will be able to continue from here on. Thank you for watching and see you next time.